Let's begin. Today we're going to work with something called relative or adjective clause. What is an adjective clause? An adjective clause gives information for a noun in another part of the sentence. Okay? Why? What for? For people to identify what they are talking about. Okay? And the adjective clause always refers to a noun that is before the clause. Clause is a short sentence. For example, the cake that she bought was delicious. Okay, I'm talking about the cake. Wait a second. Maria is here. Morning, Maria. The people who live next door are good neighbors. This sentence that is in pink refers to the people. The game, which was played yesterday, ended in a tie. It's a tie, the same number of points, okay? Which refers to the game. I visited the town where they met. So where refers to the town. And you say miss, so it can be in the after the subject or after the complement. Yes. The adjective clauses can be after a word in the subject or after a word in the complement. The leaders whom we elected will commence work next week. This whom, not yet. This whom is for B2. Do you know the woman whose picture is in the magazine? This whose refers to something that belongs to the woman. She always remembered the day when the accident happens. Here is in the complement, talking about the day. And you say, okay, miss. So what is why are those adjective clauses are necessary? Because if I write this without the adjective clause, okay, the cake was delicious. Do you know which cake is that? What was special with that cake? Can you identify the cake? No?
Maybe lemon, maybe chocolate.
Eggs. That's it. But when I put that she bought, you say, okay, the cake that Maria bought or the cake that Luisa bought. Okay? If I write the people are good neighbors. Can I know who are those people? Is the people in front of the house? Is all the people in the neighborhood? Is the people who lives 2 houses from mine? No, I can't. I can know basically the people are good neighbors, who that people are. But when I give the adjective clause, I understand. Okay, it's not the people opposite, it's not the people behind, it's not the people in all the neighborhood, but only the ones who live next door, al lado. Likewise, if I put here the game ended in a tie, which game is that? Is that a football game? Is that a soccer game? Is that a baseball game? Is that a Monopoly game? When was the game? But when I say the game which was played yesterday, okay, it's not any game. It's the one that happened yesterday. It's not the game 2 days ago. It's not the game last week. It's not the game today, but the one that was yesterday. Okay. That's why the adjective clause are necessary to clarify an information. Okay. Questions up to now? Guido, Maria, Eduardo, no problem with the what an adjective clause is used for?
To clarify the
Additional information to
additional
clarify a
information.
sentence.
Okay.
It's always additional, except in some cases. Which are the cases?
It's always in the middle, the sentence, okay?
It can be in the middle of the sentence or it can be at the end of the sentence. Remember that they modify a noun, they give information. So if I'm going to, in the first example, let me get it back. In the first example, we're talking about the cake. We give additional information about the cake. But in this case, what I modify or the additional information refers to the town, and the town is in the complement. So depending where the noun is or where what the additional information is about, you can put it after the subject or after the complement. Okay? Notice, I visited the town where they met. I'm talking about the town. Okay? She always will remember the day, complement, when the accident happened. Because if I say, she will always remember the day, if I only write this, give me a second, let me put this one side. If I only write wait, let me put it better so you can get the idea. If I only write, she will always remember the day. Okay, which day? What happened at that day? Why that day is important? You don't know. She will always remember the day. When I add the adjective clause, okay, it was a specific day when she has an accident. Okay, that's why most of the times when we use an adjective clause is because we need information, relevant information to understand the sentences. Likewise here. If I say, I visited the town, is there any way you can understand what town I visited or why I visited that town? No, I visited the town. It doesn't even have a name. But if I said, I visited the town where they met, okay, it's a specific town. Is the town where your brother and his wife met, or is the town where your mother and your father met? Okay, that is why the additional information is necessary, either after the subject or either after the complement. Okay, is that clear, Guido, now? That it can be in the middle or at the end. Okay. Sometimes that information is very important, and sometimes it's just additional. We call them defining and non-defining relative clauses. Another name that you can find in dictionaries for defining, you can find they are, instead of defining, you can find the word restrictive. Okay, the restrictive or defining relative clauses means that they cannot be omitted. If you omit that information, you will never know what people are talking about. And the non-defining or non-restrictive adjective clause means that you can eliminate it and you understand the meaning. They are called also non-restrictive. And it means it can be omitted with no problem. Okay, so how can we know which ones are restrictive and which one are non-restrictive? First of all, the defining has no commas. It's necessary information essential to distinguish which thing or person we're talking about. I called my brother who lives in Ontario. This is necessary because maybe I have 2 brothers, 3 brothers. And when I say who lives in Ontario, I'm specifying which of my 3, 4 brothers I'm talking about. Okay?
Sorry, Miss, can you make it larger, the
Larger,
image,
yes,
please?
no problem. Let me put it larger.
Thank you.
Okay? So, notice, necessary information essential to distinguish which thing or person we're talking about. I call my brother who lives in Ontario. I have more than one brother, and I call the one that lives in Ontario. Okay? Or I bought a car. But which car? What car? What color is the car? I bought the car Maria was selling. Okay, it's not a car from an agency. It's not a car from a car dealer. It's the car that your friend Maria was selling. Okay, but if I say I bought the car, which car? What's special about that car? In the case when the information is irrelevant or defining or restrictive, okay, we can use that. Then we're gonna say when we use that and when we cannot use that. We can use that instead of who or which. This is the mug, which or that I bought in Paris. I didn't know the man who or that was there. In the case of the information, when the information is necessary to understand, okay, I can use that for objects or that for people. Okay? And finally, in the relative pronouns can be omitted. We can omit who, which, or that. How? Do you like the song that I wrote, which I wrote? Or I can say just, do you like the song I wrote? And it's understandable because it's necessary. That's the man I like. That's the man who I like. That's the man that I like. Or I can omit this and say, that's the man I like. But the only ones I can omit are who, which, and that. Not where, not when. Okay? Not whose. Remember, the information given by the defining or restrictive relative clauses is necessary. Okay? It's something that we must add for people to understand the sentence. Okay? Questions up to now about the defining or restrictive relative clauses? Maria, Guido, Eduardo, do you have any question about what is a defining relative clause?
Okay.
It's okay. Maria, is that okay with you?
Yes, Miss.
Mm,
Don't worry, then we're gonna find which words can we use to start the non-defining, because the defining and non-defining, notice who, which, that, okay, whose. It's always a WH word that you begin the relative clauses. The non-defining are always between commas, comma at the beginning and comma at the end. Why? Because that extra information is not necessary to distinguish or to understand which thing or person we're talking about. Notice the difference. I call my brother who lives in Ontario. I have more than one brother. My brother who lives in Ontario is older. I have only one brother. Who lives in Ontario is additional. But if I say my brother is older, people understand. Okay, has only one brother. Okay, or I have Mr. Perez, who works at the office, is a lawyer. But if I say Mr. Perez is a lawyer, you can understand what person I'm talking about. Okay. So my brother who lives in Ontario is older means I have only one brother, and that information that he lives in Ontario is additional. Okay. Questions up to now?
No.
No, Miss.
Maria, no problem. Guido, no problem.
Problem.
So here in the defining, I need the information to understand. In the non-defining, the information is not relevant. That's why it is between commas. It can be omitted. We cannot use that instead of who or which. These bikes, which cost a fortune, are made in Japan. Not that cost a fortune. In this case, we cannot use that, and the who, the what, the which cannot be omitted. They introduced me to John, who I like it immediately. Not John, I like it immediately, or John, that I like it immediately. Okay? So, non-defining that, defining not that. Here I can omit, I can eliminate the who, the which, and the that. But in the other, in the non-restrictive, I cannot eliminate anything. Okay? Questions about this? Defining, non-defining, why they have no commas. We use that, we not use that. We can omit who, which, and that. And here we cannot omit any. Questions up to this moment?
No, Miss.
Eduardo, Guido?
No, Miss.
So
All right.
here come the relative closest words. Who and that, subject or object pronouns for people. That's the woman who bought my house. So these are the words you use to begin the relative clauses, okay? Who and that for people. Which and that for object or animals. The horse which Mary was riding is very friendly and beautiful. Where for places. We found the wood where I used to go. When for time. I will never forget the day when I graduated. Whose possession for people, animal, and things. The mother whose child is missing is very sad. So when we are going to begin a relative clause or an adjective clause, we always use one question word. Who and that for people, which and that for objects, where to a place, when to the time, and whose for possession. Okay, something that belongs to the person. The mother whose child is missing, the mother who is the mother of a child. Okay, that child is hers. Okay. And remember that sometimes when they are restrictive, we cannot use that. Okay. And we can eliminate who or which or that in the ones that are non-defining, the ones that are additional. Okay, so a relative clause always starts with a WH word. Who, that for people, which, that for objects or animals, where for places, when for time, and whose for possession. Notice something important. Relative clauses don't have time restriction. You can combine present and past, past and future, present progressive and past tense. There is no restriction about time. Notice. That is the woman who bought my house, present past. The horse which Mary was riding, past progressive, is very friendly and beautiful, simple present. We found the wood where I used to go, past past. I will never forget the day, future, when I graduated, past. The mother whose child is missing is very sad, present, present. So the relative clauses can be any verb tense. It is not, I miss, I have to say the man who is at the door is my friend. Yes, but I can say the man who was at the door is my friend, and it is correct because the relative clause can have any verb tense, any combination of verb tenses. Okay? Is that okay?
Yes, Miss.
Eduardo? Guido?
Yes,
Is
miss.
that okay? No problem? Okay, nice. Let's get some exercises using the relative clauses. Okay, give me a second. Let me open this. Okay, relative clauses B1. Let me put it a little bit larger so Eduardo can see it better. Okay. Let me share the exercises. Okay. The first one, the first exercise is about which question word are you going to use? Who, what, that, etc. So, number one, Guido, did you really understand that I told you what I told you, or which I told you?
Did you really understand that I told you
What I told you, lo que te dije.
that?
Again, oh my God. I don't know why there is a problem with this, that it doesn't open. Yesterday, it was the same. Okay, let me charge it again. You see, it doesn't get defining and non-defining relative clauses. Exercises, is something wrong with this page. Okay, notice that it doesn't open correctly. This is another one. This is the place I saw him the last time. Guido, this is the place where, which or that? This is the place?
Where?
Where? Maria, that is the man, daughter has won the lottery. Which daughter, who daughter, or whose daughter?
Who?
Who daughter? Eduardo, two options. Do you know the musician is playing the guitar?
Mm,
Two options.
do you know
I'm talking
who is
about the
playing
musician.
the guitar?
Who is playing the guitar, and nothing or that. Do you know the musician is playing the guitar, or do you know the musician who is that is playing the guitar?
I know the musician is that playing the guitar.
That is playing the guitar. Guido, the painting was finished in 1850, is one of the most representative works of that time. Which are that? Which was finished? Two options, Maria. This is the person I introduced you a few weeks ago. Which, that, or nothing? There are two correct options.
That this is a person that
I introduced you a few weeks ago. And which or nothing? This is the person I introduced you a few weeks ago. Which or nothing?
nothing.
Nothing. Eduardo, I can't find the shop. I bought my computer 2 years ago. Where, that, or which?
Where?
Where? Guido, that's the book. We must read this term. What's the book? We must read this term. Where? We must read. Who? We must read, or nothing?
Eh?
What's the book where we must read? What's the book who we must read? Or what's the book nothing? What's the book we must read this term?
Nothing.
Nothing. Maria, this is the girl. Parents are getting divorced. Who parent? Whose parents or whom parents?
Who? Who?
Who? Eduardo, the final decision not everybody is going to like will be announced at the next meeting, which not everybody, the final decision not everybody is going to like. Which, that or nothing?
That.
Guido, this font is much better than the first font you showed me. Two correct options. Whose you show me, that you show me, or nothing.
That. You
That.
show me.
That you showed me. And the second option, whose or nothing?
Nothing.
Nothing. Okay, let's see. This is the place where. We use where to refer to a place. This is a place where. This is the man, daughter won the lottery. Whose? We use whose as a possessive form of who. Whose daughter? The daughter of him. Okay, whose can be used for people and things. So Maria, whose? Because the daughter has a relationship with the man. Okay, whose daughter? The daughter of the man. Okay. Do you know the musician who and that? Good. Here, if we put nothing, there is no subject. The painting, which was finished in 1850, is one of the most representative works of that time. That can only be used in defining relative clause, no commas. And here we have one comma and another comma, okay? So we can only omit this without commas. This is the person that or nothing, correct. Okay, I can find the shop. I'm talking about the shop where. This is the book. We must read this term. The book is an object. Where is for place, who is for people. So nothing. This is the girl again, Maria, parents. Okay, whose daughter? The daughter of the parents. Okay. The final decision, which not everybody is going to like, will be announced. So we use which or we use nothing. Okay? Because this is that without commas. And here we have one comma and here we have the other. And not everybody works as a subject. Not everybody is going to like. Okay, this is correct. Let's go to page number 2. Let's see. Eduardo, my sister is now living in New York, has just had a baby. That is now living or who is now living?
Who?
Who? Maria, can you give me the number of the plumber repaired your shower? Which, that or nothing?
Nothing. or that, I don't know.
If you say nothing, what is the subject for this sentence? Do you know the name of the plumber repaired your shower? Which one? So we have which and that.
Which?
Which. Okay. Guido, I'd like to eat at the restaurant we met. I'm
Where
talking
we
about the restaurant where we met. Eduardo, thank for the wine, whose you brought us, what you brought us, or nothing.
What you brought us.
Maria, the car, which cost more than $20,000, was a present from his family. Which, that, or nothing?
That.
Guido, the company workers are now being forced to stay home, will probably go bankrupt. To go bankrupt, ir a la quiebra. Okay? The company whose workers, which worker, or that workers. The workers are at the company.
Which? Which?
Eduardo, this is the bar. I'm talking about the bar.
Where I work.
Where I work. Maria, I will always remember the day we met. I'm talking about the day.
When?
When we met. Eduardo, Joe was carrying a gun that was fortunate because it saved our life. That was fortunate, nothing, or which was fortunate?
That.
Guido, you should write a thank you email to the lady who or nothing assisted you the night of the accident. I'm talking about the lady. Who? Okay. Who is now living? That can only be used in defining without commas, and here I have the comma. We can only omit who, which, and that. Can you give me the number of the plumber? We can use who and that for people in defining relative clause, no commas. So if I'm talking about a person, I always use who or that, no which. Okay. Miss, pero en español yo puedo decir, ¿me puedes dar el número del plomero el cual reparó tu ducha? But in English, we cannot say that. We said the plumber who, quien reparó, or that que reparó, but not which. Okay. Where, place. Thanks for the wine. We can omit in defining relative clause without commas when followed by subject and verb. Thanks for the wine you brought us. Because we have what, the option was what, who, and nothing. Okay, so it's thank you for the wine you brought us. The car, we can only use which or who, not that in non-defining. Cuando no tiene comas, no puedo usar that. Okay, but which or who. The car, which costs more than $20,000 because who is for people. The company, the workers belong to the company. Whose workers? Los trabajadores que le pertenecen a la compañía. The company whose workers. Okay, Guido? The bar where, the day when, and again, which. Not that was fortunate, because the gun cannot be fortunate. Joe was carrying a gun that was fortunate, o sea, el arma fue afortunada, ¿no? La situación fue afortunada, no el arma. Okay, you should write a thank you mail to the lady who. Okay? Who, which, whose, where, or when. In all of them, you need to use a word. Okay? So, Eduardo, Sunny is building a robot, can form an emotional connection with humans. Sunny is building a robot, who, which, whose, where, or when. Not that. Which one refers to objects?
Where? No.
Where?
No. Sony is building a robot. From an animation, make sure we.
A robot is an object.
Okay. What is the option?
Who, which, whose, where, or when.
Which?
Let me write the options so you can see the options as you go down. Okay. Let me put here, which are the options? The options are who, which, whose, where, or when. These are the options, okay? Let's continue. Guido, Apple co-founder Steve Jobs died in October at the age of 56, had a rare form of pancreatic cancer. Who, which, whose, where, or when? I'm talking about Steve Jobs.
Who?
Who? Maria, can you give me back the book I lent you last year?
And
I'm talking about the book.
the things and the which.
Which, because it is an object. Sorry, it's not on here, it comes here. Eduardo, is that the man house was destroyed by the hurricane?
Is that the man?
Who, which, whose, where, when?
Is that the man? Whose
Whose?
house was destroyed by the hurricane?
Whose house was destroyed by the hurricane? Okay. Guido, do you remember the summer Jack came home by surprise?
When?
When? Because I'm talking about summer. A love affair quickly developed between Gala and Dali. Was about 10 years younger than her. I'm talking about Salvador Dali. Eduardo?
Okay. Who? No.
We're talking about Salvador Dali, the famous painter.
Yes. And his wife, Gala.
Maria, why don't we book a room at the hotel we stayed the last year? I'm talking about the hotel.
Hotel is a place, so where?
Guido, is that the boy insulted you?
Does. No,
I'm talking about the boy.
which?
Okay. Eduardo, William Colgate name is on the toothpaste tubes all around the world, left home because the family was very poor. He invented Colgate toothpaste.
Who?
Who?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Guido. He took us into his house and gave us food. Was really nice of him. I'm talking not about the food, but about the action. So Guido,
Where?
where? I'm talking about an action, the action of giving food.
When?
When? Seven out of 10. Let's see why. Number one, which, because we use which for things like animals. In this sentence, we could also use that because it doesn't have commas. And we can't omit which because here comes a verb. Who for people, in that sentence, we can't use that because it is a non-defining. Okay, no commas. Okay, you can make me back the book which I lent you last year, which for things and animal. In this sentence, we could also use that because it doesn't have any commas. This is the man whose house, the house belonged to the man. Okay? Do you remember the summer? We're talking to the summer. We use when we refer to time, afterwards to time, year, winter, etc. A love affair quickly developed between Gal and Dali, who for people, and we can't use that because it doesn't have commas. Why don't we go back at the hotel where we stayed? Where? Because we are referring to the hotel. Guido, we use who for people.
Okay.
We cannot use which for people. Okay? And we can use that because it doesn't have any comma. William Colgate, the name belongs to William Colgate, so it's whose. William Colgate, whose name is on the toothpaste, because this word name belongs to William Colgate. Okay, it's like, this is the man whose house, the house belongs to the man. So here, the name belongs to the person. He's the only person whose name is William Colgate and created the toothpaste. Okay? We use which to refer to a whole sentence. He took us into his house and gave us food. This is an action. So an action is which or that, but not when, because here we don't have any word about time. Okay? Did you get it? The reason why we use here which, the reason why we use here whose, here what we use who, why we use who. Okay, it is no problem up to now.
No.
Okay, let's do the exercise in the book. Okay. Complete the sentences with our relative pronouns. Okay. Ben is the person. Bike was stolen last week. If the bike belongs to Ben, which word can I use here? Maria, the bike belongs to Ben. The bike belongs to Ben. Which word can I use?
The bike. Which? No,
Remember, I'm not
that.
talking about the bike. I'm saying that the bike belongs to Ben. And if we talk about something that belongs to a person, which word do we use?
When is the sentences means I can see.
Ben's the person.
Ben's the persons. Okay.
Bike was stolen last week.
Okay.
The bike belongs to Ben. So which word can we use?
So, Ben's, the people, Ben's, the persons. That,
No, Eduardo, what shall we
Mhm.
use? The bike
think
belongs to Ben.
Whose?
Whose? Guido,
Whose?
do you agree with that or with whose?
The tree?
Number one, do you agree with that or with whose? The bike belongs to Ben.
Who?
Whose. It is whose. ¿Ok? María, nosotros usamos whose cuando la palabra que sigue le pertenece a alguien o tiene relación con alguien. ¿Ok? ¿Cómo sé yo que voy a usar whose? Ajá. Ben is the person, bike was stolen last week. Esta bicicleta le pertenece a Ben. ¿Ok? Y como le pertenece a Ben, usamos la palabra whose para indicar que no fue la bicicleta de Pedro, que no fue la bicicleta de María, que no fue mi bicicleta, sino que esa bicicleta le pertenece a la persona que están mencionando. Cuando hablábamos de la hija, puedo decir, Peter, daughter is a lawyer. ¿De quién es la hija? La hija es de Peter. Entonces usamos el posesivo, whose. ¿Ok? Siempre usamos el whose cuando tenemos algo o alguien que está relacionado con lo que antecede a la cláusula. ¿Ok? En este caso, la bicicleta le pertenece a Ben. Let's see, Eduardo. That's the dog tried to bite me. I'm
That's the
talking about
dog.
the dog.
That.
Do you agree, Guido, with that? That's the dog that tried to bite me? Guido, do you agree?
Yes.
Okay, you agree. Maria, do you agree?
mm, yes,
Yes?
yes.
Okay. We check here. Okay, ta 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 ta. Don't use that in the when it is commas. Here, no commas, I can use that. I can use that or I can use which. Because which is used for animals and objects. Both are correct. Next, Guido, she doesn't like people are unfriendly.
Doesn't like people who
Are unfriendly. As it doesn't have commas, I can use that. Maria, that's the house they want to live in. I'm talking about the house.
The things.
I think wood house. Okay, but house is a thing and is a place. That's the house they wanted to live in. We're talking about the place, not the object.
Place. Where?
Where? Okay, Guido, do you agree with where?
before
That's the house where they want to live in. Do you agree?
Who?
We're talking about the house. Maria says where. That's the house where they want to live in. Do you agree with where?
Yes, yes.
Eduardo, no problem with where?
No, no problem.
Yes, it is where. Because I'm
It's where.
talking about the place, the house.
Mhm.
Guido, where are the keys? Where on the kitchen table? I'm talking about the keys, an object.
Which?
Which where on the kitchen table or that where? Where on the kitchen table? Good. Eduardo, we are moving to a quiet place. We can't hear the traffic. I'm talking about a quiet place.
That.
I'm talking about the place. Guido,
place,
if I'm
okay.
talking about the place, what shall I use?
Where?
Where? Yes, Guido and Maria were right. Where? Because I'm talking about the place. Place is where. Let's see, Maria. The company David works for makes computer. I'm talking about the company.
The company is a place where?
The company where David works for make computers. Finally, Guido, I read a lot of books. I was ill. I'm talking about the circumstances. I was ill.
It does.
So what?
The company. Huh?
No, number 8. I read a lot of books.
Yeah.
I was ill. I'm talking about the moment I was ill, not about the books.
That.
Eduardo, what's your option? Guido says that. Do you agree or you think it might be another? I'm talking about the moment when I was ill.
Which?
Which or that? Eduardo, what did you say? I read a lot of books. I'm talking about the moment I was ill. What's your option?
I can listen to you. Maybe it's the internet. I don't know.
Number 8. Guido says, which or that?
It's when.
Yes, you're right. Because I'm talking about the moment I was ill. And if I refer to a moment, I use when. Okay. Nevertheless, sin embargo, nevertheless, we're going to keep on practicing next week. Listen, next week, as we are in unit 9, next Tuesday, we're having test number 2, quiz number 2. Okay? Tuesday, reading, writing, and use of English, and Wednesday, listening test. Okay?
Dios mío.
So review from 5 to 8. Okay? We're in unit 9. We're just about to finish unit 9. We have past perfect here. And remember, this course has only 12 units. So it means we are like a month to finish, a month or 5 weeks. Okay? So thank you for coming. Have a very nice weekend and see you on Tuesday. Okay?
Thank you.
Bye bye,
Guido,
Miss.
bye,
Bye bye.
Eduardo.
Thank you, Miss.
Bye,
Bye.
Maria. See you.
Bye.
Have
See
a
you.
nice weekend.